Okay, hello everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I just thought I'd make a quick little video explaining the different tricorders throughout the ages. Now, some of the disclaimers, some of these aren't the best examples of a certain given prop, or some of I've had in my collection for many, many years and have been to conventions and all sorts of stuff. Some are not quite finished, some are in a state of disrepair, but those are the examples I have, and then I'll be inserting pictures and video of other ones I've built over the years as well to fill the gaps. So I'm going to go in show order. Seems the best way to do it. So of course we start off with the classic TOS tricorder. Unfortunately, the best example I have is the Diamond Select Toys version. And then we've got a couple different versions of that. This one's the geological tricorder that was in That Which Survives, but I'm pretty sure the TOS tricorder is very well known, so I don't really see a reason to gather all those guys. But we've got that Wand Company one coming out eventually, and that's going to be probably the greatest prop replica that's ever been made of anything. So got your classic TOS tricorder. Going right into the movies, we've got motion picture tricorders, which are definitely interesting. This is just a solid casting kit by AIM, if I recall correctly, and then this one's a not finished Roddenberry version, but definitely a interesting departure, at least even from this over here. Little cards in there. Hopefully it'll have lights one day, but looked like there were a couple different versions of this used in the movie. One that actually had a folding top here, where about halfway through this folded over, and then some hero ones, stunt ones, things like that. So unique design there. And then moving through to Star Trek 3. Well, I guess we should say 2. Here's a picture of one from 2. I'm working on one, but it's in pieces. But I believe this was a rented prop. You can see it's quite a bit different, and I'm sure a lot of you know all this already and maybe are already screaming out details on the screen. I'm just, like I said, doing a general overview. So we got that guy. Then Star Trek 3 here, we've got kind of a return to the classic design, except it's got a pop-up head there, and obviously this guy isn't done, but kind of a fun prop. And then get the lights going on there. So, although it's kind of like the TOS tricorder where they hold it facing outwards, but at least it has a little, could have a little screen here or something back here, and maybe these are the, part of the scanners, but then the buttons are on the front. But you always saw the TOS tricorder, they would hold it facing outwards, so the view would be basically, from the user was like this. And sometimes some of them had the hoods where they could swing all the way back, so you'd at least have the screen up there, but a lot of times it was just like this. I've noticed it very specifically in Arena, where Spock's taking readings and he's just looking around and Anyway, that's a TV show. Whatever. Anyway, back to the original. 4, they used the Klingon stuff. 5 as a variant of this. Here's a picture of that from Richard Coyle. And then the Star Trek 6 version is also a variant of this guy. So this got pretty good use out of this one, or at least this style and design. So we've got that, and then moving on to Next Generation. In Season 1, we started off with this guy, the Mark 6, which guess I needed to glue that panel in there. Always classy. Mark 6 tricorder, kind of a bulky guy, had a little, some of them had a little ratchet mechanism where, that's why it has this little clip here, to where it would hold it in, but then once you undid that, it would open itself and it would make that ratchet noise, which they continued on for the rest of the tricorders, but this one actually had a little mechanism that actually made that sound. But this kind of started the modern era of tricorders, and then this version was pretty cool in that they designed it to where the medical version had this attachment that would snap in, and then you had a variety of scanners with that. So you've got this version, you can see it really well in that one where the rotting people on the planet where they're all dying steal all the kids, and then Dr. Crusher passes this on to Wesley, who scans one of them. So you get a nice good picture of that. Here's the science scanner, which can pop in to the back there. And then I skipped this entirely, so we'll go back for that. Back to TOS, so I forgot about that. We do have our couple of medical scanners. For those, you got McCoy's classic scanner. And we've got Dr. Mbenga's scanner, as it is termed. The real one had a little like spinning wheel in there that had the different colors, but in the modern day and age and technology, you can just use the little LED there. So that's a pretty cool one. And then the not as well seen Tormolen scanner from the Naked Time, and then other places too, but I think it was most heavily featured, or that's what people call it anyway, in that episode. So very cool. Guess I should say, yes, Diamond Select, Roddenberry AIM, casting of a Richard Coyle, Stapleton kit. This was from the guy on eBay, TOS Phaser, who sells all the, whatever his name is, or something, who sells all the TOS Phaser parts. Very nice little kit. This was from a run on the RPF, and this guy was done by the fantastic prop maker who goes by the name Nick's dad, so love to have that guy. So next, they eventually upgraded. I'm not sure. I think this is season 3, but I'm not sure if that's if it came in earlier or what. But we have kind of an upgrade to the Mark 6, and I've seen a couple versions where this has the ID light and somewhere it doesn't. So that's why I have the two different versions there. But other than that, I believe these are pretty much the same. And you can see it has a fancier display here for the medical attachment, and again can take the two different scanners. Slightly different graphic there. Now, unfortunately, the next version is probably one of the most elusive. It's kind of a cross between this guy and then the next version after that, which is still the Mark 6, but it was redone by, I believe, Ed Miorecki to probably have better battery life and be a little fancier, probably lighter, because these ones were big, thick resin, and then the new version was vacuform. It's kind of represented in this. This is one of those weird old garage kits. Very similar to that, but slightly different. I'll explain the red in a moment, but a little bit changed, but obviously here's some screenshots, and they use that from season 3 onward. I think you even see him as far as season 6 or 7 even, but so like I said, this is the version of that I painted up to be like one featured in Voyager and First Contact. Season 1 of Voyager, if you look in the sick bay on the wall, you'll see a little red tricorder, and since they reused the First Contact, or they reused the sick bay for First Contact, it's up there also. But a random red tricorder, mine's not exactly like that one. And I've seen one at auction that's one of this style, but the one that's featured in those shots appears to be either the later Mark 6 or a Mark 7. So, but that's why this guy's red. So just for fun, but that one is kind of more elusive at this point. Hopefully there'll be a kit of it again someday, or I don't know. I've thought about trying to make one in 3D, but we'll see. So then we go probably to one of the most popular tricorders, at least in my opinion, We've got the Mark 7, in which they wanted more lights on the front there. And I got rid of the scanner. And unfortunately, this is one of those that's been through an ordeal. The electronics are pretty cool. I believe they were made by the same people that made them for the show. Unfortunately, that's one where I had to put them in the body before I did all the body work, because they will not come out. So that's why I had to replace the slide from the front, and it did not go very well. But oh well. It's my personal one that I've tried to upgrade over the years, but so that's that guy. And then with that, they had the, well, okay, I think these started in Season 4. I could be wrong, but I know at the very end of Season 3, they had the Mark 7 Medical, which this is I think one of the first Stapleton kits that came out and has been through a lot over the years. In fact, I had to end up harvesting some electronics for it for another one, but so it's not in the best of shape right now. But the idea is that it operates according to like the tech manuals. It's kind of like this, where this attachment would slap onto the top there, because they have a very similar body. But on the real ones, they were just two vacuform halves, and each side included the top there. So we get the idea there. You can see it pretty well in the episode Transfigurations, but it might appear before that, but I can't remember. And speaking of Transfigurations, here's a prop. I think you only see the one time. Actually, it might show up later, but I can't remember, but I don't think they use it very much. And this has suffered a drop there, but this will slot into the Mark 7 Medical. So you have a mega tricorder, and then the little scanner guys will come out and light up. So, and then in the episode, Dr. Crusher attaches this to, I was going to say John Doe, but his actual name is John Doe. Space John Doe's head and exposed brain, and Geordi to do the thing. Incidentally, having a variant of those little scanners in this device right here. So kind of fun. I'm running out of room here because I really thought this through and didn't just say I'm going to do this right now. So there we are so far. These two were used all the way through DS9 seasons 1 through 3 and Voyager season 1 and the rest of Next Gen, and also Generations. One kind of random one. This is one I 3D modeled and printed. Obviously doesn't have the graphics, and I just have a temporary one in there just to have it in there. In the episode Blood Oath, you see a version that actually had a little LCD screen that apparently they had like a day to make, so they ended up using the Playmates Toys graphics for all the markings and such. But and then just the screen lights up, no others, but kind of an interesting variant. But it's only seen in the one shot, if I recall correctly, and then the shots before and after feature one of these, I believe. So kind of something fun there. Okay, after that, we switch to the next, or probably most popular tricorder, the redone Mark 9. I did not make this one. This is a holy grail item for me, made by Federation Surplus, that I recently was able to trade for. And in fact, his videos, if you look up, I think it's Com510 on YouTube, he has this and many other fantastic props, but his videos are what inspired me to get into the nightmare of prop making, collecting. So it's very satisfying to have one of these. But they redesigned this for Voyager, First Contact, DS9, one with more lights, one that would last longer. But probably the most popular one, considering EFX and Master Replicas, and then Roddenberry kept producing these. Granted, it was the same mold, but still, I'm surprised we haven't seen it's a lot of LEDs, but I'm surprised we haven't seen a more mass-produced or a revival of that. And then you've got, of course, the medical version that appeared first in First Contact. And the First Contact version had yellow and green for this bar, if I recall correctly. Not the... well, that says blue and purple, but I think the original one, or the original version, had blue and red. That was featured in Voyager Season 7. And then you see them kind of pop up every now and then. But it's got, of course, the little scanner on the back. And then you do see versions of this type with the scanner in the back on DS9 and Voyager. An interesting note is First Contact, Insurrection... yeah, First Contact, Insurrection, and then DS9 Seasons 4 through 7 used this version with the red bar, or the red scrolling lights here on the back. Voyager, pretty much the same, as far as I know, except this was yellow on the Voyager version, so just kind of a interesting little thing there. So, and of course the scanner lights up. This had different colors, if I recall correctly. Red and green, red and yellow, or yellow and green, something like that. There was a couple different LED schemes for that guy. Then, I guess, technically, next would be... I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but technically I believe the next one, if you're going show-wise chronologically, would be the Endgame Tricorder. Oh, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It is this... Oregon Scientific Travel Clock. Somebody thought, hey, we're in the way future, and I need an alarm set, so why don't we take this and turn it into this. So I love when they take found items and like, hey, I know, make this a thing. So the Mark 15, even though it's 29th century, so in a couple years we went through this, and this, but then after that we only went through, 4 or 5 more models. My thinking is, my headcanon is, this is not the standard relativity tricorder. This is one they made for 7 of 9. Like, this was the last version that used the similar interface to these kinds. So they made a retro one for her, and that's why it's only Mark 15. Something like that. Anyway, so in the episode, I think it only appears in the episode Relativity, and then for some reason shows up in Picard Season 3 opening for some reason. Then, last episode of Voyager, we had the Endgame Tricorder. This is not a great example of the build. I'll put video up. And then we had 2 versions of that, the science version and a medical with the arm there. So that's kind of a cool one. And just for fun, not quite canonical, but we have the Renegades Tricorder, made by Scott Nakata. One day I'll finish it, or start it, just have it together, but really cool design, but kind of in line with the end game there. So after that we have Enterprise. Enterprise had the cool pop-up scanners. And the Vulcan scanner, we'll just go ahead and call that. This one's hopefully going to be a Carbon Creek version that was painted a little bit different and actually had it was probably the bare aluminum master or whatever, but it had I'm just going to call it chrome, kind of dome area. And then here's a more traditional finished one, except that has a plasma disc that is currently out of batteries that somebody made. So that's it for Legacy Trek. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, and somebody's already screaming at the computer going, you forgot blank. But we're moving on to the reboots. The JJ Tricorder. Unfortunately, the Playmates toy is going to have to represent all of those from the JJ movies. Into Darkness and then Beyond had some fancier ones. So there's that, and then I guess we're going for disco. There's a disco tricorder from the show. I don't have one of those. And then I guess we're on to... Oh, goodness. I did forget one. It's sitting right over here. The Nemesis tricorder. That was... Oh, wow. I forgot a whole group. So let's back up, shall we? Okay, Nemesis tricorder. They had... I assume PDAs were popular in the early 2000s, and that's kind of one of the genesis of this, and they could put, like, the screen in it. Unfortunately, I think mine has a dead battery as it won't take a charge anymore, but it has the scrolling lights up here and had different screens. Some of them had a little lenticular screen so that when you moved it back and forth, the graphic changed, so that was pretty cool. Also in Nemesis, we had these two guys, and they've been in my collection for a long, long, long time. So they're not in the best of shape, but here's the Nemesis version of the Science tricorder, which they labeled the Mark IX. Weirdly enough, I'd be interested to hear if there was a reason behind this. So you got your regular Science one, which is labeled, well, this one says Mark X, but usually they're Mark IXs, and then this guy is usually Mark X. So then this guy became Mark 11. So it has much... I'll insert a video of a much better one that's finished. You can see the lights. A lot of them are static on. There's not a lot of movement. Just the alpha, beta, gamma, delta lights, and then the back. But it has a lot of white LEDs. You can see it in the scene where Geordi is scanning B4. So, but not really a good look at it. And then they also created... But I think the only evidence of this is the auction, a medical version of that, which is very similar, has the static white lights, and then you can see right there Mark 11, but something different. I haven't seen a lot of people... Or I don't think I've ever seen another replica of one of these. I wish mine looked better, but oh well. Like I said, it's been through some conventions and other things as well. Getting towards the end here, we've got the Picard Season 1 tricorder. This was a fan replica where they actually had a cell phone insert for the screen, which was kind of fun. And then the scanner that pops out of the side. And then Picard Season 2 and 3, we had the kind of revolutionary new Samsung flip phone minus the flip phone. And they put a little case around it, and then they could show whatever graphics on it they wanted. So that's pretty exciting. And then I guess last but not least, we've got my attempt at a Strange New Worlds tricorder. Kind of bring it all back around to the original series. Pretty cool design. I believe it uses a couple of iPods or MP4 players for the different screens there, but pretty cool design, and then scanner hole down there. But yeah, so this is my haphazard look at tricorders through the ages. If you have any questions, please send them to me. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's about it. Thank you.